I remember the first time I came out in this deer shack and saw my husband sawing off the leg of a deer, and I just walked out. I was like, what is going on? Things have changed since then, haven't they, Trav?
Quite a bit.
10 years ago, this site would have absolutely disgusted me. Now I'm just so happy we have all this meat. Remember, if you choose to eat meat, you bear the responsibility for that animal's life, whether you buy it neatly packaged from a grocery store or you take its life by your own hand.
Hey guys, I'm Kaylyn and welcome back to Fable Hill Farm. Today we are doing family deer processing. We have 6 does to process, and it's a family affair. It's a lot of work. We're by no means professionals in any way, but my husband and his family have been cutting up their own deer for a long time. So that's what we're doing. And I'm going to take you along, show you a little bit of the process. This is not really a how-to video, but just kind of showing you what it looks like, what kind of work is entailed. This is actually the first day I got to cut up any deer in all the years my husband and I have been together. Usually I'm the one who bags, but today I had some time to cut and learn a little bit from my husband, and then of course bagging it up. That's Kaylyn's job.
So here's our initial setup. We've got lots of cutting boards and empty bowls and sharp knives. That's what you're going to need, lots of sharp. So one of my brother-in-laws here is the designated cutter, and he's bringing the deer in piece by piece basically and starting to cut enough meat off the bone that everybody else can sit down and start to actually cut it and sort it into usable meat. As I mentioned, this is my first time that I've ever cut up deer. I'm usually always the one who packages, and I'm only going to do this for a few minutes while I let everyone get caught up and get enough meat going in the bowls. I really struggled with finding the grain to cut the meat in the appropriate place, so I've asked my husband here to show me how he cuts, and right now he's got a piece that he's cutting into deer steaks. My husband is quite the perfectionist, so he's usually the one that cuts up things like the tenderloin or the back straps and things of that nature. He's really taking his time and making sure that he's getting any weird tendons or ligaments that would make the texture unpalatable. There are 3 different types of bowls. We've got the steak bowl going here, and that's the nicer meat, the canning meat or meat you would grind up into burger, and then we have the scrap pile. So now I'm going to try my hand at cutting up some deer steak. And basically what I have to do is first cut off all of this fatty stuff on the outside. And there's also this like hard layer, and that's all the meat that was actually exposed to the air while the animal was hanging during the aging process. So I'm just cutting all that off because it's not really usable at this point. And I'm just getting my nice base as far as my starting point. And then I'm going ahead and cutting out any areas that have any odd tendons or ligaments. That kind of white line that you see, that's not something that you really want to eat. So we're going to cut that out. And then I am finding the grain and slicing up this deer steak and sorting it into the appropriate bowls. As I started doing this, I realized there were all these really beautiful pieces of fat, and I got the idea that I could save this fat and render it down into tallow. The bowls are starting to get pretty full with meat, so it's time for me to step into my other role as the bagger and start to get my area set up so I can package. I've asked my brother-in-law to set aside all these big pieces of fat as he cuts the meat off the bone so I can deal with them later. And you can see here he's got his scraps and then this bowl of neck roast that he's cut as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my area set up. I've got our vacuum sealer here. I've got a bunch of bags and I'm ready to go. This meat is going to be divided up between 4 households, so I want to make sure that I get it all labeled and sorted properly so everybody can get a little of everything. When you're vacuum sealing something like venison, you want to make sure you use the moist setting. That way you're properly sealing it, and helping to like flatten it out and lift it up is going to make sure that you get the best possible seal. And obviously we want a good seal because we don't want to have freezer burn and ruin any of this beautiful meat.
I've been out here in a long time. All right, we got 3 left.
Yep.
How much do you think each of those does weighs?
I don't know. I don't know what there are dressed out. Dressed to see.
Do you guys ever weigh them or not?
What's that?
Do you guys ever weigh them or not?
Not skin. We weigh them before we skin them. Like 120 is a good deer.
Well, this sure ain't for the faint of heart, is it? And these are the last 3 of the 6 does that we're gonna be cleaning today. Processing. They all look about the same size, actually.
Yeah, they all were. One or two of them was just a little bit bigger, like they might have been a year older, but they're pretty close.
You can see how beautiful these neck roasts are, and this is my favorite cut of meat on the deer. Throwing this in a crock pot with garlic and carrots and onion and celery, and then you can make a beautiful gravy from it. And then here we have these big beautiful tenderloins or back straps that my husband saved in large pieces, and we'll keep some of them whole and cut some in half, and we'll be able to marinate them and have them as a family. Every extra set of hands makes such a difference when you're processing this many deer. This really is a family affair. Here is a final look at all of the meat off of the 6 does that we processed. We're all done now with everything other than the fat that I've got to deal with on my own. Again, that was something totally new and off the cuff I decided to do. So for the most part, everybody's done now and getting cleaned up, and I'll be sorting out meat for everyone to take home. What I'm doing now is just cutting as much of the meat and gunk off of this fat as possible, and you really need big pieces, otherwise it's kind of impossible to do. I found in some cases you can actually rip the meat off, and that's a lot easier than just having to cut it off. Now that I've got all this fat as clean as I think I'm going to get it, I'm going to start cubing all of it, which is going to make it a lot easier to render it down into tallow later.
Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and leave me a comment down below. Do you hunt? Do you cut up your own deer? Do you pay somebody to process it for you? Are you interested in learning? Are you intimidated? Are you not a hunter? Are you a vegetarian? If you are, you probably didn't watch this video. So leave me a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.